Welcome back, everyone. Today we're going to discover one last strategy for dividing numbers, and that is going to be long division. Now, I saved it for last because I wanted you to learn the box method first, as well as the partial quotients method first, because I think those two strategies will help you understand what we are really doing when we're dividing numbers. That being said, long division is still very useful, and I think it's one of the most common ways people actually use to divide numbers. So let's take a look at two examples today. So the first example we're going to look at today is 423 divided by 3. And the way to set this up is actually very simple. We're going to put our dividend in the middle. Then we're going to draw something similar to what we did in the partial quotient strategy. Then we're going to move our divisor, which is the number 3, onto the left side once again. And then we're going to do something similar to what we did in our box method. We ask, how many times can our divisor, which is the number 3, go into the first digit of our dividend, which is the number 4. So I know that 3 can go into the number 4 one time, so I'm going to put the 1 up there. Then I'm going to multiply again. 3 times 1 equals 3. Now, I'm going to put 2 zeros at the end of the 3 because I want you to realize that we're not actually doing 4 minus 3. We're doing 423 minus 300 because the 4 is actually in the hundreds place. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. So 423 minus 300 is 123. Now the next step is, once again, very similar to box method. How many times can number 3 go into? Well, we know that it can't go into 1, so I'm going to move to the next step. How many times can 3 go into the number 12? Now we know our times table, or we can skip count just a few times. We know that 3 can go into the number 12 4 times. So once again, I'm going to do 3 times 4 equals 12. And I'll put the 0 here again to make you realize we're not doing 12 minus 12. We're actually doing 123 minus 120. And that's going to leave us with 1 3 left. So it's going to be very simple. I know 3 goes into 3 one time. And then I'm going to subtract 3 minus 3. We get 0. And we know that when we get 0, 0 is smaller than our divisor, we're finished the question. So the quotient for 423 divided by 3 using long division is 141. So the second example we're looking at is 482 divided by 5. You're going to notice that our divisor this time is actually greater than the first digit of our dividend. So instead, I'm going to be asking, how many times does 5 go into 48? Because we're going to simply move over to the next digit. So if you know your times table, this is going to be relatively easy. However, we can use some helpful facts if we don't. Now I know that 5 times 10 is equal to 50, which is very close to what we're looking for, because we're looking for the number 48. But remember, we can't go over that number. So I think if I subtract 5, which means I have multiplied it 9 times instead, I get the number 45, which is the closest we can get to 48. Now I'm going to put the number 9 not in the hundreds column, but in the tens, because we have included the 8 this time. So 9 times 5 is equal to 45, and I'm going to subtract. Now you don't have to put the 0 like I did in my first example, because I think by now you'll understand that we're not actually doing 48 minus 45, but rather 482 minus 450. So that leaves us with a 3 in the tens column. Then I can simply drag this down to get 32. So how many times does number 5 go into 32? Now, we can skip count. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30. That's 6 times. So I'm going to put the number 6 up here. So 5 times 6 equals to 30. Then I'm going to subtract, and we get the number 2. And we notice that number 2 is less than our divisor, the number 5, which means we should be finished our problem. So the answer to 482 divided by 5 is 96 with a remainder of 2.